This podcast episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
And away we go, episode 1319 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. And as we, with our Washington Wizards, await the 2026 NBA Draft Lottery, which will take place at the McCormick Place Convention Center in Chicago this Sunday afternoon, May 10th at 3. We, on Tuesday night, had the 2026 NHL Draft Lottery, which took place at NHL Network Studios in Secaucus, New Jersey. The Washington Capitals did not move up. They wound up with the number 16 overall pick in the draft, and also have the Anaheim Ducks first-round pick. That due to the trade of defenseman John Carlson to the Ducks on March 6th, what was 2026 NHL trade deadline day. The Ducks' first-round pick will be determined by what happens with the Ducks in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So the Ducks are in the second round. They trail the Vegas Golden Knights, so 1-0 in that best-of-7 series. And if you're like me and are a Caps fan, you are rooting hard for Vegas, because the worse the Ducks do in the playoffs, the better that first-round pick from the Ducks will be for the Caps. So the 2026 NHL Draft will take place at KeyBank Center in Buffalo on June 26th and June 27th. And yeah, this Sunday, a big day for our Wizards.
The damn Washington Wizards.
Thank you, ESPN Stephen A. Smith. The Wizards off going an NBA worst 17-65 in the 2025-2026 regular season. In season number 3 of their tank, have the following odds in the 2026 NBA Draft Lottery. Number 1 pick, 14%. Number 2 pick, 13.4%. Number 3 pick, 12.7%. Number 4 pick, 12%. Number 5 pick, 47.9%. Yes, the singular pick with the highest probability for our Wizards is the number 5 pick. Hello and welcome to this Wednesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. One of the great feelings in life is getting an A+, right? Not just an A, but an A+. Getting an A+ means that you were great, that you were excellent. How do you not feel good about yourself when you get an A+? Next segment, I'm going to speak with Cam Mellor. He is the Chief Analytics and Growth Officer for Pro Football and Sports Network, PFSN, which has given the Washington Commanders an A+ for what they did in the 2026 NFL Draft. Highest graded team for the draft. An A+ for the Washington Commanders, and PFSN graded each pick. Washington's 6 picks accumulated the following grades. Round 1, the number 7 overall pick, Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles, a grade of A. Round 3, the number 71 overall pick, Clemson receiver Antonio Williams, a grade of A+. Round 5, the number 147 overall pick, Tennessee edge defender Joshua Josephs, a grade of A+. Round 6, the number 187 overall pick, Penn State running back Katron Allen, the fat man, a grade of B+. Round 6, the number 209 overall pick, Michigan State center/guard Matt Golban, a grade of B+. And round 7, the number 223 overall pick, Rutgers quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis, a grade of C-. We will go through each pick/grade, and Cam will tell us about PFSN's impact metrics, which he developed and which have the potential to become the next big thing in football analytics. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats now are just 4-13 at home in MLB's 2026 regular season, at 11-3 loss to the Minnesota Twins at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening. The O's snapped a 5-game losing streak with a 9-7 win at the Miami Marlins on Tuesday evening in a game in which the O's blew a 7-4 seventh-inning lead, but the O's mercifully got a win. The Nats and O's, each team now is 16-20. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. And if you on Apple Podcasts, give the podcast a 5-star rating. On the podcast, we'll read whatever you write in writing a review of the podcast. And what you write can be a sports take. You don't just have to write about the podcast. From OU_TK Guy on Apple Podcasts writes OU_TK Guy. One of the best interviewers in sports podcasting, carefully crafted questions, and no interrupting the person being interviewed. He lets the interviewee run with the question. Thank you very much for that, OU_TK Guy. From Mount O-Rob on Apple Podcasts writes Mount O-Rob. Al Galdi always works like every day is his first day on the job. Still miss Go-Go Thursdays. The attention to detail is shown every day. Thank you very much for that, Mount O-Rob. I also miss Go-Go Thursdays. I really miss Go-Go Thursdays. I had so much fun doing Go-Go Thursdays back in the day on the radio. Go-Go does not get enough credit for being a great genre of music. And of course, Go-Go is the music of our city, Washington, D.C. Go-Go, in fact, is the official music of D.C. February 19th, 2020, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser signed the Go-Go Music of the District of Columbia Designation Act of 2019 to make Go-Go the official music of Washington, D.C. Go-Go, officially speaking, is the music of D.C. Email from Mark on this podcast. Writes Mark Galdi, I really appreciated your coverage of the NFL draft. My wife and I recently attended a local trivia event, and lo and behold, the halftime question was, name the first 6 teams picking in Thursday's NFL draft first round. You don't have to list the teams in order. Bam! Thanks to the Al Galdi podcast, I rattled the teams right off. We got max points, even though the number 7 pick was left out of the question. Also, when I lived in Arlington, my yard was a postage stamp, but I can relate to gazing over a manicured greensward. Still, beware, it is a slippery slope from that glorious sense of accomplishment to a Zaben-esque outlining and painting of the logo, then goalposts, etc., etc. Be careful, my friend. Thank you for that, Mark. I will be careful, or at least I'll try to be careful. On last Thursday's show, episode 1315 said that I now do the thing of after I cut the grass, looking out a window and admiring my work. You know, patting myself on the back. Now, I do not do the cliche dad thing of making other people admire my work. I do not do that. I do not intend on ever doing that. That is a step too far. I keep the admiration to myself, but I do now do the thing of after I cut the grass, looking out a window and admiring my work and saying to myself, hey, you did a nice job, pal. Way to go. My rookie year of mowing the lawn was, I think, 1992 or 1993, but I would mow the lawn of my childhood home, and when mowing the lawn back then, I would listen to a Walkman. Remember that? A Walkman. And I'd listen to the Tony Kornheiser show on what was then Sports Radio 570 WTEM. But cutting the grass back in the day was part of my indoctrination into the radio business, listening to Kornheiser back in the day while cutting the grass. All right, clothing from Quince is outstanding. Quince has all of your wardrobe staples for spring. Think 100% European linen shorts and shirts from just $34. Everything is priced at 50 to 80% less than what you'd find with similar brands. How? Well, Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. Everything is designed to last and make getting dressed easy. I have a Quince blue wool pullover. I love it. So comfortable. One of my favorite pieces of clothing from this past winter. Refresh your everyday with luxury that you'll actually use. Go to quince.com/Galdi for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Galdi. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Galdi.
Big thanks to our sponsor, BetterHelp, for partnering with us for this important conversation about mental health.
This is Steve Smith here, former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 show on YouTube. So having a counselor and working with BetterHelp, that gives you an opportunity to really start to unpack. But people don't understand, when you unpack things, you also open up a box that you're not always sure what's inside. So I think that's why seeing a professional is extremely important. If you need someone to open up to, visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89 to get started.
We've all been there. You're away for the weekend, the big game is on, and you realize you're restricted from watching. Or maybe you're trying to check the latest lines on your betting app, but your local network is blocking the site. These are the ultimate unforced errors. You can prevent this from happening to you with IPVanish. IPVanish is the powerhouse VPN designed to keep you in the game no matter where you are. IPVanish helps you stay connected to your favorite team and streaming services while you travel, but it's not just about watching the game. For the bettors out there, IPVanish provides an extra layer of security and privacy that helps you access your account safely on public Wi-Fi. Plus, IPVanish is lightning fast, so you won't have to worry about lag during those crucial live betting moments. Right now, get a massive discount at IPVanish.com. That's IPVanish.com to get started today. Secure your play and go to IPVanish.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
A lot of praise for what the Washington Commanders did in the 2026 NFL Draft, and we now have a guest to discuss this. Pro Football and Sports Network giving Washington an A+ for what the Commanders did in the draft. Best grade for any team in the draft. It is a pleasure to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast, Cam Mellor, Chief Analytics and Growth Officer for Pro Football and Sports Network, PFSN. Cam worked for Pro Football Focus from May 2016 to February 2020. You can follow Cam on X at Cam Mellor, and Mellor is spelled Mellor. Hey, Cam, how are you?
You know, it's great. It's great also to be back. Great to talk to you as well. Al, it's the Super Bowl is over now at this point for us at PFSN, but it's always a good time to then shift our focus to 2027. But 2027 draft, but this 2026 season, 2026 draft itself, record-breaking years for us. But ultimately, it's always good to get to the NFL draft. Always a little bit sad when it's over, though.
Yeah, although we are getting closer to training camps, which now are about 2.5 months away. So PFSN has given Washington for what it did in the draft, not just an A, but an A+. Why such a high grade?
Yeah, so we toyed with our grading mechanism this year, and we figured we wanted to add a level of nuance to it a little bit, where it was they picked, and the grades were picked and then balanced against what was on the board versus what their team needs were. And so you weren't just getting straight up value for picking the best player available. You were getting valued for the best player available at the highest need that you saw in your team or that we had deemed. And then, we did consensus team grades as well. And so that's why the A+ hit. It felt like not only was there great value at every pick, it obviously started with Sonny Styles at the top, but there was great value, and it just, the way that the board fell, the great value happened at arguably the biggest positions of need, or with the way that the best players available were. They were able to take the best player at, maybe 1A or 1B, so to speak, of the top needs on the board. So A+ for the Commanders overall. Honestly, it's even the Cali McManus pick, we understood, so to speak. But yeah, all the way from top to bottom, it really felt like it was the best they could have done.
And I especially like that you guys graded not just each team's draft, but each team's pick in the draft. So let's go through the grades for each of Washington's picks. The Commanders took Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles with the number 7 overall pick in the draft. The grade from PFSN, an A.
Yeah, love the way that it fell. Honestly, it feels like grading an off-ball linebacker is, taking an off-ball linebacker in the top 10 seems like it's a little bit rich, especially in today's NFL. But for Sonny Styles to fall that much, I mean, we were talking about him as a generational talent, even though that term feels like it's tossed around far too much nowadays. But this is a guy who can fight off blocks in all levels. And that's depending on whoever's trying to block him. He also knows how to invade the gaps if he's pass rushing, but also running the alley in run defense too. So he was our number 2 overall prospect. And so it was far worth the selection at 7. Honestly, anybody at that point would have gotten a high tier, a high grade. But yeah, Styles' ability, I mean, worthy of the talk about a generational type player.
Wow, so you guys had Sonny Styles as the number 2 overall player in the draft.
Number 2 overall. Yeah, our player comp at the NFL level is Leighton Vander Esch in his prime as well. So sort of one of those, you're going to get an impact from him from game 1 all the way through at the end of his career.
Washington could use Sonny Styles being a rookie who makes an immediate impact. He certainly profiles as someone who can do that, right?
Yeah, it feels like it's one of those, like probably the biggest impact player in that top 10. So, I mean, if you take away positional importance of the quarterback, so to speak, but absolutely one of those guys where maybe Mansour Delane at Kansas City at 6 takes a little bit of time to get up to the NFL speed and thrust into that lineup. Whereas Sonny Styles, I feel like with his safety background, immediately plugs into coverage schemes, can rush the passer incredibly well. So I would not be surprised if there's a week 1 impact play he makes or 2.
So good to hear that. Washington took Clemson receiver Antonio Williams in the 3rd round of the draft. The grade from PFSN, an A+.
Yeah, to me, he's going to be Jaden Daniels' favorite player. It feels like one of those guys that, yeah, he can substitute in and out. He can go close to the quarterback, close to the line of scrimmage, or he can line up outside. He feels like the term playing above the rim or playing above his size, big for his size, is thrown around too often as well. But I feel like Antonio Williams is sort of that guy. He was a top 10 or 11th overall for our receiver grades entering this NFL draft. And it feels like that frame, he shouldn't be a guy that makes a 50-50 ball, more like a 65-35 or even a 70-30 overall for him in his favor, but he does. And I mean, what he was able to do in volume as well, when Cade Klubnik and that Clemson offense actually put forth numbers and put forth a passing attack that was worthy of the name, it was him that was mainly the behemoth of the success, and it was because of him, I feel like.
In terms of WR1, WR2, WR3, etc., what will Antonio Williams be in the NFL?
Yeah, he's like a natural born separator. So I don't want to go as far as like a Jackson Smith and Jabo where he's going to be one of those wide receiver 1s by default. But it feels like, don't be surprised if he is wide receiver 2, but he has more targets than a wide receiver 1, so to speak, because he's going to be that guy that's going to be able to get open quickly. He's able to secure his route separation as well at any part of the stem. So he can jump off the line of scrimmage and beat his corner or his safety or whoever's tasked with covering him. But he can also do it in the deep half, the deep third as well. And so to me, I feel like it's one of those that, yeah, don't be surprised if he gets more targets than even the wide receiver 1 on the Commanders.
Very good. Washington took Tennessee edge defender Joshua Josephs in the 5th round of the draft. The grade from PFSN, an A+.
Yeah, the explosive nature. To me, it jumps off the screen. If you watched Tennessee for the past few years, it felt like there were just an embarrassment of riches along the edge. And that started with James Pierce Jr. and that sort of off-ball edge linebacker role. But Josephs himself was one of those players that no matter where he lined up as well, right side of the field, left side, he's got some of that positional versatility where he can also jump out and be an off-ball type of guy, but he's big enough, he's explosive enough, and it's a Dallas Turner-esque comp. Maybe even throw in some of the old Jamal Davis as well, but to me, the pick itself, he's like one of those impact players that you didn't hear enough about in this pre-draft circuit. So one of those that'll exceed his draft placement.
Okay, Washington took Penn State running back Katron Fatman Allen in the 6th round of the draft. The grade from PFSN, a B+.
I thought he was better than Nicholas Singleton. I thought he was a higher prospect, should have been a higher drafted prospect as well than Nick Singleton, his own teammate. And so to me, what it is he was generally he had in front of him decent run blocking. But when he was forced off his spot or forced to create on his own, he had a lot of great creation capacity as a running back. And so that's why he ran for 6.5 yards per carry during that career year. And so to me, one of our highest graded running backs in college, one of the highest graded running backs in terms of the relative athletic score as well. And also when he is, as our draft analysts were able to grade as well, one of the higher. I'm surprised he lasted that long as he did. But to me, it's get him for 4 years, and that this is the prime example of a 6th-round pick. I couldn't be happier.
Now, Washington had 2 6th-round picks in the draft. The Commanders, with their second 6th-round pick in the draft, took Michigan State center/guard Matt Golban. The grade from PFSN, a B+.
Yeah, to me, I think he's a high floor. I think he's a professional type kid from day one. Like to see his sort of point of attack, his strength and play strength get a little bit stronger as he acclimates to the NFL. So maybe not right away get him in there, but it's like a plug and play at either one of those positions. But I mean, he was at one point, he broke the grading system in our PFSN college impact grades at center during his year at Michigan State. And so it was one of those, it caught my eye real early when anytime I had to manually go in and adjust the ratings for a guy like him as well. To me, also, I know him a little bit personally. And he's one of those guys, a high character guy, and the entire family is a high character as well. So do not be surprised. One of those like Walter Payton Man of the Year candidates if he sticks with the 53 man.
Is Matt Golban in the NFL more of a center or a guard, in your opinion?
Yeah, his best year that we have graded is his year at center. But with that versatility, I think that, you want to say O-lineman 6 is always going to be a tackle. But to me, plug him in and move it out to throw 2 guards and run some incredibly inside zone with a couple of different guards there. And I don't see why not. But I think he can, with him being able to play both, I would say center is his best position.
And then Washington's last pick in the draft, the Commanders' most controversial pick in the draft, them taking Rutgers quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis in the 7th round. The grade from PFSN, a C-. Washington took Kaliak-Manis over LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who a year ago was viewed as a potential top 10 pick in the draft. Washington took Kaliak-Manis with the number 223 overall pick. The Kansas City Chiefs took Nussmeier with the number 249 overall pick. What do you think that Washington general manager Adam Peters was thinking in taking Kaliak-Manis over Nussmeier?
Yeah, I think it's probably game management, which to me, I'm still surprised that it wasn't Garrett Nussmeier because this guy's been coached by an NFL coach his entire life, aka his father. So for Nussmeier to fall as much as he did with his dad and that pro background, it speaks volumes to what Kaliak-Manis probably is able to do from installing playbooks, understanding his role as well. He probably knew full well, he's never going to be an NFL type starter kind of player, but he's absolutely going to be that guy that you can count on in a pinch to run the offense without much gap. Obviously, a very different player than what you would have in originally if he were to be thrust into some action, but a guy that you're not going to miss a whole lot of as well. And I thought there was some decent athleticism back in his days at Minnesota with Tanner Morgan before he went to Rutgers and, broke the Rutgers records as well was in contention for Rutgers record. But yeah, game manager, not going to wow you with that arm strength or talent though overall.
Is Ethan Kaliak-Manis someone who you could see being a long-term QB2 for Washington?
Yeah, he's like that, Colt McCoy, throw 8 career regular season pass attempts and make tens of millions of dollars. Absolutely. Maybe not quite that much, but absolutely. He's a guy that, again, one of those high character guys that you're going to want. He already understands his role, what this team will be most likely. And so, yeah, consummate professional, it felt like from the time he stepped foot on Rutgers campus.
Yeah, we had Colt McCoy on the Redskins for years. We're talking with Cam Mellor, Chief Analytics and Growth Officer for Pro Football and Sports Network, PFSN, which gave the Washington Commanders an A+ for what they did in the 2026 NFL Draft. I did want to ask you about PFSN's proprietary impact metrics, which you yourself developed. You guys for NFL and college football teams and players have impact metrics for team offensive efficiency, team defensive efficiency, and individual players. For instance, for quarterbacks, you have PFSN's Quarterback Impact, QBI, which, quote, assigns a numerical score and a letter grade to an individual quarterback's performance. We arrive at the grade by factoring in both passing and rushing efficiency and volume. More stable components like clean pocket performance and EPA per rush on design runs get weighted more than less stable ones like pressure performance and scrambling. We also add a clutch component that gives extra weight to how quarterbacks perform in high leverage situations, end quote. I find the impact metrics really interesting. Could very much see them catching on, especially with the uncertainty with Pro Football Focus right now. What can you tell us about the impact metrics?
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me do such a thing. It was my baby that I brought over that we created with our analytical suite and analytical team that we have. So I went with similar. Obviously, we see player grades from 0 to 99.9 across the board now, but these are a little bit different. They analyze what a player does on a per play basis with impact to the game itself, hence the impact. And so I went to the old baseball methodology where a single with 2 outs when you're down 6 runs doesn't really mean a whole lot. Whereas, a triple with no outs means a lot more. And so, an 8-yard carry on a 3rd and 20 is not going to move the needle, but an 8-yard carry on a 1st and 10 when you're in your own portion of the field is going to move the needle as a running back, so to speak, and as a play side run blocker. So it assesses what players are doing with the actual impact to the game on the line on a per play basis.
So it sounds like an impact score essentially is a combination of PFF grade and expected points added per play.
Yeah. So EPA per play, we have our own EPA, proprietary EPA as well, that's generated from, I went back all the way back to 1963, actually, and generated with to sort of create a database, and then used machine learning to create our own EPA per play, which then also ultimately does feed into it. Yeah. So, 1st and 10 run, I always say, a 1st and 10 run for 8 yards or even a pass for 8 yards, the quarterback and running back are getting a lot more for those than some of those negligible, necessary garbage yards per se. Same thing goes with garbage points as well. Garbage time not graded very highly when you're down 3 or 4 scores in the 4th quarter and just putting up gaudy numbers.
And people can find the impact metrics for free on PFSN's site, ProFootballNetwork.com, right?
Yeah, pretty easy to get to as well. It just starts on our main page. They're actually featured on the homepage, so ProFootballNetwork.com. Easiest way to get to them and navigate through them. And they will be free, always are free, and we have no intent to monetize them ever. It's just to come and enjoy the game.
And I like that you have the impact metrics for both NFL and college football.
NFL, college teams, college players, NFL teams, NFL players, and actually we go down a level all the way to FCS as well. So we have an entire FCS database. So all 136, 138, however many FBS teams we have, and then all the 120 something now FCS teams as well.
Wow, FCS impact
FCS
scores.
Football as well. It's I have a little soft spot for it. My brother played at Dartmouth. And so I recognize the Ivy League specifically was very undercovered across the nation, but so was the entire FCS. So yeah, we're giving love to those guys as well.
That's so cool. Congrats on all of that. Now, you mentioned that with EPA per play, you went all the way back to 1963. How'd you do that?
I found play-by-play sheets all the way back to 63 on one of those historical databases as well. And right at the merger, so to speak, I tried to get as much as I possibly could. I think I'm missing a handful of games, maybe a couple dozen games in terms of play-by-play sheets that I was able to pull forth. But yeah, we set up a machine learning process that learned from it and learned what made successful plays. It's amazing to see the difference in how much EPA gained from a run play back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s would have been versus nowadays. The numbers were staggering.
I was going to ask you, how does EPA per play in the NFL today compare with EPA per play in the NFL in the 1960s?
Yeah, I'd have to pull up the numbers themselves, but it's amazing. You didn't have a lot of highly graded quarterbacks or a lot of highly generated EPA. No quarterbacks were putting up the expected points added that you would expect from back then. It was honestly, it helps further the Dan Marino argument, because the first one that really sort of broke the mold was Marino. Obviously, the 4,000 yard season in '84, but it was Marino that sort of play calling aspect when they changed it. So it was, running backs were dominant. We had punters and kickers that were outscoring receivers as well from back then. So it jives with the time. It was really fun, sort of a fun history lesson for some of my younger data scientists to learn as well.
So, as I'm sure you know, Aaron Schatz has been able to compute his DVOA metric going back decades, and I've talked to him about this, there isn't always readily available info/video on games from back in the day. The NFL back then just didn't think much of preserving this stuff.
It's amazing, actually. And some of the sheets we were able to find, they were kept by manual scorekeepers that were, I believe, like on the Packers staff, but they weren't a member of the staff. And so it was sort of like a dad in the stands were keeping these play sheets that they then used for their own studies. But it's the Wayback Machine is a lot of fun to use in that sense well, now it was, Ask Jeeves is now gone, but yeah, Google, and it's a lot of fun to go back and find those times. But yeah, it's amazing what we did not have back then.
Cam Mellor, Chief Analytics and Growth Officer for Pro Football and Sports Network, PFSN. Cam, thank you and continued success.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, good stuff from Cam Mellor. And if you have a case, contact Chris Nace, the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers that will fight for you and win for you. Lead attorney Chris Nace is a big Washington Commanders fan and big supporter of this podcast. And his firm wins trials. Just recently, an $8 million jury verdict in Baltimore City Circuit Court. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group is tremendous. It is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Another loss for the Washington Nationals at home, and this time a blowout loss, an 11-3 loss to the Minnesota Twins at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening in Game 1 of a 3-game series. The Nats in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 16-20, just 4-13 at home versus 12-7 on the road, and the 4-13 includes the Nats being just 1-5 in Game 1s of series at home. The Nats have been especially bad at getting off to good starts in home series, and now we've been talking about the Nats' surging offense calming down. The Nats have scored 3 runs or less in 7 of the team's last 11 games. The Nats on Tuesday evening, just 3 runs, just 6 hits, though 4 were extra base hits, as the Nats had 4 doubles and 2 singles. The Nats worked 3 walks, but went just 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position and struck out 10 times. The Nats' 6 hits came from the team's numbers 1 through 3 batters and number 8 batter, James Wood. He is the Nats' starting right fielder, and number 1 batter went 1 for 4 with an RBI double. Wood in the Nats' 1-run 7th had a went-out opposite field RBI double off the top of the left field wall to cut the Nats' deficit to 7-3. The play was reviewed via a crew chief review, but was maintained as a double as opposed to being ruled a home run. The double had a game-best exit velocity of 111.9 miles per hour per StatCast. That is more like it. Wood has cooled off lately, so good to see him display the opposite field power. That RBI double, just his second extra base hit over his last 10 games. Dalen Lyle, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, went 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Lyle for this regular season has an OPS of just .692, but is tied with shortstop C.J. Abrams for number 1 on the Nats in hits, 35. Curtis Mead, he is the Nats starting first baseman and number 3 batter, went 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI single. Mead has been productive when he has played. He for this regular season now has an OPS of .785. And Jose Tena, he has been productive when he has played. He is the Nats starting DH and number 8 batter, went 2 for 3 with a double, a single, and a walk. Tena for this regular season now has an OPS of .768. But Keibert Ruiz, he is the Nats starting catcher and number 9 batter, went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, grounded into a double play to end the game. He for this regular season now has an OPS of just .506. Nasim Nunez, he is the Nats starting second baseman and number 7 batter, went 0 for 3 with a walk. He for this regular season now has an OPS of just .547. Jacob Young, he is the Nats starting center fielder and number 5 batter, went 0 for 4. He, for this regular season, now has an OPS of just .581. 3 regulars for the Nats, each with an OPS in the 500s. An OPS in the 600s is bad. An OPS in the 500s is really bad. And I'm not including first baseman Luis Garcia Jr. He did not play due to a right wrist ailment, but his OPS for this regular season is in the 500s, just .595. And the Nats' other regular catcher, Drew Millis, his OPS for this regular season is in the 400s, just .405. The Nats offense overall has been good, even with the cooling off lately. But, once you get beyond C.J. Abrams and James Wood, there are quite a few guys who are not doing well at all. The Nats starting pitcher in this 11-3 loss to the Twins at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening was Cade Cavalli. He was coming off back-to-back 10 strikeout outings. Cavalli in the Nats' 7-2 loss to the Atlanta Braves at Nationals Park on April 23rd allowed 2 runs in 5 innings with 10 strikeouts versus no walks. Cavalli in the Nats' 14-2 win at the New York Mets last Wednesday night, April 29th, allowed 2 runs in 6 innings with 10 strikeouts. He became the first Nats pitcher to generate at least 10 strikeouts in each of at least 2 consecutive regular season appearances since Max Scherzer in July 2020. But Cavalli on Tuesday evening was not good. He allowed 6 runs, 3 earned in 4 innings. He gave up 5 hits, which were 2 doubles and 3 singles. He issued 3 walks and a hit by pitch. He recorded just 2 strikeouts. He threw 76 pitches, 48 strikes versus 28 balls, and he committed a key fielding error. Cavalli in the top of the second allowed 2 runs on a 2-out hit by pitch of Cody Clemens, a 2-out swinging bunt single by Luke Keashall to the left side of the infield on an 0-2 pitch, and a 2-out first pitch, 2-run double by Brooks Lee to the right field corner for a 2-1 Twins lead. And Cavalli unraveled in the top of the fourth. He, in the top of the fourth, allowed 4 runs, 1 earned on a whopping 40 pitches as he gave up a weak leadoff opposite field single by Austin Martin through the right side of the infield, issued a 5-pitch walk of Cody Clemens, issued a 10-pitch walk of Luke Keashall, committed a first-pitch run-scoring fielding error on a fielder's choice grounder by Brooks Lee back to Cavalli for a 3-1 Twins lead, gave up an opposite field RBI sac fly by Royce Lewis to the right field warning track for a 4-1 Twins lead, and gave up a 2-out, 2-run double by Trevor Larnach to the right center field gap on an 0-2 pitch for a 6-1 Twins lead. And Cavalli issued a 2-out, 8-pitch walk of Ryan Jeffers despite having had him down in the count at 1.02. That top of the fourth was rough. Again, Cavalli threw 40 pitches in the top of the fourth, and way too many instances in this outing of Cavalli having 2 strikes on a guy and not putting the guy away. Cavalli, off the back-to-back 10 strikeout outings, did not have the put-away success that he had over those 2 previous outings. And so you look at Cade Cavalli now in this regular season, 8 games all starts, ERA of 4.15, whip of 1.70. That is a really high walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. He is lucky that ERA of 4.15 isn't higher. Now, his strikeouts per 9 innings is good, 10.38, but he's averaging a whopping 18.78 pitches per inning. He's averaging 19 pitches per inning. The talent is there. His highs are high, but he's putting too many guys on base, and the pitch inefficiency is extreme, and those things have led to him over his 8 starts totaling just 34 and 2/3 innings. Now, you think about that. 8 starts, 34 and 2/3 innings. He, at that rate, if he made 32 starts, would total just 139 innings. 32 starts for a pitcher in a regular season should equate to close to 200 innings. Cavalli, 32 starts, 139 innings. That is his current pace. You've heard of innings eaters. This guy is doing intermittent fasting with his innings eating. But again, there's a good bit to like with Cade Cavalli. He is a developing starting pitcher at the major league level. It's just frustrating because you see how good he can be, but then you see an outing like the one he put forth on Tuesday evening. And the Nats relief pitching in this 11-3 loss to the Twins at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening was bad. 3 Nats relievers combined to allow 5 runs in 5 innings. Now, Paxton Schultz was good. He tossed 2 scoreless and hitless innings, but Andre Granillo allowed 4 runs in 2 innings. He, in the top of the 8th, gave up a first pitch 3-run homer by Byron Buxton to left field for a 10-3 Twins lead. Andre Granillo in this regular season, 8 games, 9 1/3 innings, 10 earned runs, ERA of 9.64, whip of 2.25, and sure enough, the Nats late night on Tuesday night announced having optioned Granillo to AAA Rochester. And Orlando Revolta, he allowed 1 run in 1 inning. He in the top of the 9th allowed a run on 2 walks and a double, all with 1 out. The Nats in this regular season now have the following relief pitching stats: ERA of 4.77, whip of 1.45. The bullpen had been better lately, but a rough performance on Tuesday evening. Also regarding the Nats relief pitching, the Nats on Tuesday night announced having agreed with free agent reliever Max Kranick on a 1-year major league contract with a club option for the 2027 season, and announced having put Kranick on the 15-day injured list due to recovery from right elbow surgery. He underwent Tommy John surgery on his right elbow in June 2022 and underwent right flexor tendon surgery in July 2025. Also, the Nats on Tuesday night announced having designated reliever Jackson Rutledge for assignment. And, this was done to clear a spot on the 40-man roster, but we should not overlook this. The Nats took Jackson Rutledge with the number 17 overall pick in the 2019 MLB first-year player draft. They took him out of San Jacinto College, a public community college in Texas, and he has not worked out at all for the Nats, and now he has been DFA'd. Bad drafting and bad player development are the 2 biggest reasons for why the Nats fired President of Baseball Operations and General Manager Mike Rizzo last July 6th. The Jackson Rutledge pick is a prime example of the bad drafting, a whiff with a number 17 overall pick. Game 2 against the Twins at Nationals Park, Wednesday evening at 6:45. The Nats have listed Miles Mikolas as their probable starting pitcher for the game, but I use those words, listed and probable, because we know that the Nats with Mikolas have been apt to use an opener in reliever P.J. Poulin. So we'll see if the Nats do in fact go with the opener strategy for Game 2 of this series.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Well, the Baltimore Orioles off getting brutalized via getting swept in a 4-game series at the New York Yankees this past Friday through Monday, got a much-needed win on Tuesday evening, a 9-7 win at the Miami Marlins on Tuesday evening in Game 1 of a 3-game series. Although the O's did blow a 7-4 7th-inning lead, but they did win. They snapped a 5-game losing streak. They in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 16-20, but with the worst run differential in the American League, minus 39. Remember, the O's in that 4-game sweep at the Yankees got outscored 39-10. But terrific offense for the O's on Tuesday evening. 9 runs, 10 hits, which were a triple, 3 doubles and 6 singles, 5 walks, 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. The O's got to the Marlins starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara. He allowed 7 runs in 4 1/3 innings. The Orioles' dynamic catching duo of Adley Rutschman and Samuel Basallo again was great. Adley Rutschman, he and the Orioles' 2-run ninth had a pinch 2-out RBI single to left field for an 8-7 Orioles lead. Rutschman for this regular season now has an OPS of 873, and the man for whom he pinch hit was Samuel Basallo, who got pinch hit for despite having 4 RBI. Samuel Basallo, he has the Orioles starting catcher and number 5 batter, went 3 for 4 with an RBI triple, an RBI double, and a 2-run single. Now, he did commit a costly error, but Basallo in the Orioles' 3-run first had a 1-out first pitch, opposite field RBI double off the left center field warning track for a 3-0 Orioles lead. Basallo in the Orioles' 2-run third had a 1-out 2-run single to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 5-3 Orioles lead. And Basallo in the Orioles' 2-run fifth had an RBI triple to the right center field gap on a 1-2 pitch for a 6-4 Orioles lead. Now, the error was unfortunate. Basallo in the Marlins' 1-run eighth committed a 1-out throwing error on a steal of third base by pinch runner Esteury Ruiz, who had also stolen second base. He scored on the error to tie the game at 7, but Samuel Basallo for this regular season now has an OPS of 793. We, during O's manager Craig Albernaz's post-game session with reporters on Tuesday night, had this exchange.
That decision in the 9th inning to pinch hit Adley Rutschman there, it's obviously righty-on-lefty matchup, both the game that Samuel Basallo had, just home run away from the cycle. Was that a difficult call?
Yeah, it was difficult, especially given how Sammy looked at the plate all night, how he's handled left-handed pitching all season, but the way Adley's swinging it too. So I wouldn't say it's not a problem, but it's a tough decision to make, and it's a good decision to make too, right, when you have 2 really talented players. But ultimately we landed on Adley just from the simple fact of getting a righty in there, especially seeing the swings that the righties took off him, especially with T.O. coming off the bench. So yeah, and Adley did a great job of great at bat, great challenge by him, and great job driving in the winning run.
Yes, it was. Also, the rise of Pete Alonso continues. He is the Orioles starting first baseman and number 4 batter, went 2 for 3 with a 2-run double, another double, and 2 walks. Alonso in the Orioles' 3-run first had a 1-out 2-run double to left field for a 2-0 Orioles lead despite having been down in the count at 1.12. Alonso for this regular season now has his OPS up to 771. That's up from 637 as of games through April 26th. He has been on some tear. During Craig Albernaz's post-game session with reporters on Tuesday night, had this exchange.
Do you feel like Alonso is really rounding into form now over the last week or so?
Yeah, he's definitely rounding into form. Like bat quality has been steady all season, and now he's starting to find his groove, starting to find his timing. He's taking his walks, like we always talk about, and his ability to drive the ball to right field has been coming on as of late. And now you're seeing the adjustability with the off-speed stuff and, finding the left field line. And so when he's going at his best, he's using a big part of his field. And when he gets to the breaking ball out front or off-speed out front, and that's what he does. He hits the line drive over the third baseman's head and gets down the left field.
Yeah, really good to see Pete Alonso doing better, but the biggest problem for the O's so far in this regular season, their starting pitching, remains a major problem. The Orioles starting pitcher in this 9-7 win at the Marlins on Tuesday evening was Chris Bassitt. He allowed 4 runs in 4 innings. He gave up 6 hits, all of which were singles. He issued 3 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and a wild pitch. He recorded 3 strikeouts. He threw 76 pitches, just 42 strikes versus 34 balls. This is Chris Bassitt's age 37 season, and you do have to wonder if he's finally showing his age. The O's this past February 13th announced having agreed with Bassitt on a 1-year contract as a free agent. The 1-year contract reportedly is worth $18.5 million. The contract, to me, though, made sense. Bassitt came to the O's having been very good and very durable. He, over the previous 7 regular seasons, 2019 through 2025, registered an ERA of 3.60 and an ERA plus of 115 over 192 games, including 188 starts. And he made at least 30 starts in each of the previous 4 regular seasons, 2022 through 2025. So there was a lot to like, but he so far in this regular season has been really bad. 7 games, all starts, ERA of 5.91, whip of 1.91. We, during Craig Albernaz's post-game session with reporters on Tuesday night, had this exchange.
Bassitt's kind of searching for his command, particularly with the breaking balls early. What were you seeing that just kind of caused him to labor through those 4 innings?
Yeah, he didn't have feel for his breaking balls. He was searching for that all game. That's uncharacteristic of him. It's big misses, like the one behind Otto Lopez, and hit a couple guys with it. No, he was searching for it, but he did a great job of just grinding through it. I know I say great job, but when you don't have feel like that, like when you're out on the mound, it's a pretty helpless feeling. But he gutted it out, and he gave us 4 innings, which is what we needed, and especially kind of getting the pen at least to cover the rest of the game competitively. And so Bassett was a tough outing for him, but also he gutted it out and grinded for what we needed.
Okay, well, good for Craig Albernaz for sticking up for Chris Bassett, but Bassett needs to be better, and he knows that. This was some of his post-game session with reporters on Tuesday night.
It seemed like we were searching for your control a little bit, especially with the breaking ball early. What was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, usually I need my curveball for the most part, and usually when I can't land it, usually it's just like I stop throwing it, and then all of a sudden when I stop throwing it, it's obviously not usually a good outing. So I was like, all right, let's figure it out. Let's try to get it going, so to speak, and it just never got going. A couple hit batters with some stuff, a couple walks because of it. So it's just one of those days. Not going to overthink it, not going to look into it. It's just one of those days.
With the way the team played in New York, to be able to come out today and get punched in the mouth a little bit late in the game and come back, I mean, what does it just kind of say about this team and the way they was able to fight?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we're just going through it, and even today we went through it. It's just not playing a clean brand of baseball. Like today, I think I was kind of the reason for that. Just too many walks. I wasn't sure if their broadcast was right, but they said we had 5 walks and all 5 scored. It just that was the only way they could possibly win today with our offense, the way that it was clicking. Is just us beating ourselves. So I think it's just like trusting each other, which I think the offense did a great job of just trusting each other. Defense did a good job, and then just pitching's got to be a little bit better. But I mean, overall, it's just play clean baseball. And again, I got to be better. We all got to be better. But hats off to the guys for just sticking with each other. That's kind of what we're preaching about, is just sticking with each other, playing for each other, playing with each other, picking each other up. So yeah, I'm just happy with how we handled today.
Some guys in here talked about trying a little bit too hard, maybe forcing things. Do you feel kind of the same way about how this season has gone so far?
I wouldn't say, like, you're saying from a personal standpoint?
Just from around the team as a whole.
No, I mean, it's just like everyone's always trying to be like the guy that gets us going from a starting rotation, from hitters, just defense. It's just be you. And whatever happens. Like I said, it's just you got to play clean baseball to be a really good team. And that that obviously includes myself big time when it comes to like walks and things like that. But yeah, it's really hard to be a good team in this league when you're beating yourself. And I feel like this year we beat ourselves a lot. But I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just sticking with each other, fighting with each other, and playing for each other. It's really that simple. And then it's just, like I said, playing a clean game, and then whatever happens. Like, I can accept losing games as long as we don't like help them beat us. So it's just how are you winning games? How are you losing games? And for me, like I said, the biggest thing is just playing a clean brand of baseball.
McDonald said on the broadcast you stayed an extra day in New York to be with the team, even though you could have come here yesterday and gotten your work in. Why was that important to you to be with the team yesterday?
I know 10 years. I've never left early. And it's a ridiculous scheduling on MLB that they're allowed to do what they do in that aspect. But I never left early. I'll never leave early. I'm going to be with the guys. I want to see what they go through. I want to try to help them, whatever they're going through. And I can't do that on a plane. And honestly, one of the bigger reasons is like commercial flights. I ain't going to trust a commercial flight. I'm going to end up somewhere that I'm not supposed to end up. So, yeah, it's just like there's so many different, like, it sounds good and great to leave early, but the reality is leaving early is not as easy as leaving early. So, yeah, like I said, I've never left early in my life, and I'm never going to. I mean, I'm with this team. I'm here to help them out. So, yeah, I just wasn't, it's never a thought.
All right. Well, your updated stats for Orioles starting pitching in this regular season: ERA of 4.98, WHIP of 1.59. Not good. And the Orioles relief pitching in this 9-7 win at the Marlins on Tuesday evening, rather mixed. 5 Orioles relievers combined to allow 3 runs, 2 earned in 5 innings. Keegan Aiken tossed a perfect bottom of the 5th. Anthony Nunez allowed 2 runs in 1 and a third innings. He and the Marlins 2-run 7th gave up back-to-back 1-out solo homers to cut the Orioles' lead to 7-6. Grant Wolfram faced 2 batters and got 2 outs, which were 2 swinging strikeouts to end the bottom of the 7th. Andrew Kittredge allowed 1 run, which was unearned in 2/3 of an inning, and Rico Garcia tossed 1 1/3 scoreless and hitless innings with 2 swinging strikeouts. How good has Rico Garcia been? He in this regular season now 17 games, 16 innings, ERA of 0.56, WHIP of 0.38, strikeouts per 9 innings of 10.13. Game 2 for the O's at the Marlins, Wednesday evening at 6:40. Brandon Young will be the Orioles starting pitcher. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. Thursday's show, episode 1320, will provide you with more on the Washington Commanders. Also on Thursday's show, we'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats are home to the Minnesota Twins Wednesday evening at 6:45 for Game 2 of a 3-game series. The O's are at the Miami Marlins Wednesday evening at 6:40 for Game 2 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.
The damn Washington Wizards!
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.